Hi comic fans, my name is Walt, welcome to my channel. In this video I will review the graphic novel Bezimena by Nina Bunjevac. It's dark, it's eerie, and it has this very rare quality that your mind gets completely lost in it. So Nina Bunjevac, I'm not very familiar with her work. She did a graphic novel called Fatherland, dealing with the war on the Balkans. She is from the Balkans, I think from Croatia. I'm not quite sure. Serbia or Croatia, but I think it's Croatia. This book is beautiful. It's by Fantagraphics. It's a hardcover. And it was released, I think, 1.5 years ago or so. Yeah, it gets right into the darkness here. So it has a very unique storytelling style. You have those pages which are pretty much empty, but for the stars and a few sentences. And those sentences, of course, are loaded up a lot. They become very, very, very important. And this is an interesting lesson to learn from this. Use fewer words, use a lot of negative space, and those words will explode in your head. And the story starts almost like a dark fairy tale. The art is incredible. I don't have words for it. It definitely took a long time for each of those splash pages to be fully realized. And yeah, you could argue that it's hardly a comic or a graphic novel anymore. I don't know where the borders are between an illustrated book and a graphic novel, but this is very close to that border. So you have this text which is almost independent of the image, but of course it's not. It creates something for itself, and the image creates its own story, and they come together, and something happens then in your head. You're exactly in between here. You're in the middle of it. Oh, now I see that this microphone thing is in the image all the time. Yeah, I won't re-record this. I'm already way too tired. Okay, so it's about this fairy tale. It's a girl who gets lost, and those women find her finally. Their city or village has been attacked by predators, some sorts of predators. But weirdly enough, it's a story which goes nowhere, which just like lets this woman drop into the water and coming out at this very different time in history. And I love this kind of storytelling where you just connect your main story to a very symbolic, almost dreamlike meta story where things are acted out in by completely different rules. I mean, look at this. Be careful to not fall inside and get lost here. It's so beautiful. And yeah, the woman which has drowned into this sea, into the spirals between dimensions, is now reborn again as a little baby in the body of a boy. And this boy is quite a weird little fella. And now we experience life through his eyes. and go with him through his childhood. And yeah, he's already as a boy, he's obsessed with sexuality. I mean, I guess a few boys are. It's not like super weird or super strange yet, but then he becomes a man. And he's still very, he has a very repressed sexuality. And it's very lonesome. And then he starts to become a stalker. So nobody wants to communicate with him, to have sexual intercourse with him, and he has to find alternatives. And one of those alternatives is he's stalking those girls in the zoo. He's working at the zoo, and all he's doing is watching underage girls. He's still also semi-young, so you still don't know what to make of it as a reader, and I don't want to give too much away. He becomes obsessed with one of those girls, and he follows her. And you think it's about the man, it's about his story, but and here I will stop because it's becoming too spoilerish. But it's a story which reminded me a lot of Klaus or Burns, because they have like this way of loading up stories with sexual tension and things which are repressed, things which just dwell in your subconscious, never come out. And when they do, it's with a bang, and it's very loud, and they become very dangerous. And this is the kind of story. And it's also the kind of art which is you just fall into it. Masterfully rendered by Nina Bunjevac. Like I said, I don't want to give too much away, because a lot of what made this thing work for me was that it had a very interesting ending and a very interesting afterword by the author. And also we get into very sexual territory here. So I shouldn't show this on YouTube. But I just want to tell you that it's one of the most impressive graphic novels that I've read in the last years. And if you're a fan of the after-mentioned Klaus or Burns, this is right up your alley. Just be careful, especially if you're a female. Just be careful that you don't read it when you're in a weird mood, because it's very creepy. For men too, but for women, I think it's especially creepy. So yeah, that was my very short review of this wonderful book, Bezimena by Nina Bunjevac. Check it out, it's fantastic. And I will be back later this week with good old single issue reviews. Until then, have a good time, and bye bye.